Are you tired of feeling frustrated and drained when dealing with difficult people? Do you want to learn how to respond with calmness and understanding, even in the face of ignorance and negativity? In this video, we're exploring how the teachings of Buddhism can help us deal with stupid people. Lesson 1. Avoid fighting over small things. In the teachings of Buddhism, the concept of avoiding unnecessary conflict is deeply rooted in the principles of mindfulness, non-attachment, and compassion. When we engage in petty arguments or fights over small things, we are allowing our ego to take control, creating unnecessary suffering for ourselves and others. Buddhism encourages us to cultivate a peaceful mind that is stronger than a mind filled with anger. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present and engaged in the current moment, observing our thoughts and feelings without judgment. When we are mindful, we can recognize when a situation does not warrant our energy or time. We can step back and choose not to engage in a fight over something trivial. This does not mean we are weak or passive, but rather that we are wise and in control of our responses. Non-attachment is another key principle in Buddhism. It refers to the understanding that everything in life is impermanent and constantly changing. When we cling to our opinions or expectations, we create suffering for ourselves. Instead, if we can let go of our attachment to being right or having things go our way, we can find peace. This does not mean we should not stand up for what we believe in, but rather that we should choose our battles wisely and not get caught up in petty disputes. Compassion is the third principle that guides us in avoiding fights over small things. Compassion is the understanding that all beings are suffering and the desire to alleviate that suffering. When we approach others with compassion, we can see beyond their words and actions to the underlying pain or confusion that may be driving them. This allows us to respond with kindness and understanding, rather than anger and defensiveness. Holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned. When we engage in fights over small things, we are only causing ourselves more suffering. Instead, if we can practice mindfulness, non-attachment, and compassion, we can avoid unnecessary conflict and cultivate a peaceful mind. Avoiding fights over small things does not mean we should never stand up for ourselves or others. There are times when it is necessary to speak up or take action to protect ourselves or others from harm. The key is to discern when a situation is truly important and requires our attention, and when it is a small thing that can be let go. Avoiding fights over small things is a crucial aspect of Buddhist teachings. It is not about avoiding conflict at all costs, but rather about choosing our battles wisely and responding to situations with mindfulness, non-attachment, and compassion. By doing so, we can cultivate a peaceful mind and create more harmony in our relationships with others. As the Buddha said, better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace. Lesson 2. Learn when to take a break. The art of stepping back is a form of self-care that allows us to maintain our inner peace and tranquility. It's a recognition that we are not obligated to engage in every argument or confrontation that comes our way. Better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace. This teaching emphasizes the importance of choosing our battles wisely and speaking or acting only when it contributes to peace and understanding. When we encounter difficult people, our initial reaction might be to defend ourselves, to argue, or to try to change their perspective. These reactions often lead to more conflict and stress. By choosing to take a break instead, we give ourselves the opportunity to regain our composure, to reflect on the situation, and to respond in a more mindful and compassionate way. Taking a break doesn't mean we're avoiding the situation or the person. It's not about running away from our problems. Instead, it's about creating space for ourselves, so we can respond to the situation from a place of calm and clarity, rather than reacting out of anger or frustration. First, we need to cultivate awareness of our emotions. When we're in the midst of a difficult interaction, it's easy to get swept up in our feelings. We might feel angry, frustrated, or hurt. By practicing mindfulness, we can become more aware of these emotions as they arise. We can observe them without judgment and without letting them control our actions. Next, we need to recognize when it's time to take a break. This might be when we feel our emotions starting to escalate, when we find ourselves getting defensive, or when we realize that the conversation is not productive. It's important to remember that there's no shame in stepping back. It's a sign of strength and wisdom, not weakness. Finally, when we're ready, we can return to the situation with a clear mind and a calm heart. We can respond to the difficult person with compassion and understanding, rather than anger and frustration. We can choose our words carefully, speaking truthfully but kindly. We can listen deeply, seeking to understand rather than to judge. In the teachings of Buddhism, the practice of stepping back is a form of wisdom. It's a recognition that true strength lies not in our ability to argue or defend ourselves, but in our ability to maintain our inner peace, even in the face of difficulty. By learning when to take a break, we can transform our interactions with difficult people into opportunities for growth and enlightenment. Dealing with difficult people is not about engaging in every battle, but about choosing when to engage and when to step back. By practicing mindfulness, recognizing when to take a break, reflecting on the situation, and responding with compassion, we can navigate these interactions with wisdom and grace. Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. Lesson 3. Be respectful in your words. When dealing with difficult people, it's easy to fall into the trap of responding with harsh words or sarcastic remarks. This only serves to escalate the situation and create more suffering. Instead, we should strive to use our words in a way that is respectful, kind, and beneficial. Respectful communication begins with understanding the power of our words. The tongue, like a sharp knife, kills without drawing blood. Our words have the ability to wound deeper than any physical injury, and they can also heal and uplift in ways that no medicine can. Therefore, we must be mindful of the words we choose and the intention behind them. One way to practice respectful speech is by speaking truthfully. However, truthfulness should not be used as a weapon to hurt or belittle others. Instead, it should be used to promote understanding and clarity. The Buddha taught, "Speak the truth, but make sure it is beneficial and does not cause harm to others." Another aspect of respectful speech is kindness. This doesn't mean we should always agree with others or avoid difficult conversations. Rather, it means we should approach these conversations with a spirit of compassion and a genuine desire to understand the other person's perspective. Even when we disagree, we can do so in a way that respects the other person's dignity and worth. Respectful speech also involves listening. Often, difficult people are simply seeking to be heard and understood. By listening actively and empathetically, we can help to diffuse tense situations and build bridges of understanding. The Buddha said, "The one who listens much and talks little is wise." Respectful speech requires us to be mindful of our tone and body language. Even the kindest words can be misinterpreted if they are delivered in a harsh or dismissive tone. Similarly, our body language can convey respect or disrespect, even when our words are neutral. Therefore, we should strive to align our tone and body language with our words, creating a harmonious and respectful communication. Respectful speech involves knowing when not to speak. Silence can often be more powerful and respectful than words. As the Buddha said, "Silence is better than unmeaning words." This doesn't mean we should always remain silent in the face of difficulty, but rather that we should choose our words carefully and speak only when it is beneficial. Respectful speech requires us to be patient and forgiving. Difficult people often say things that are hurtful or disrespectful. However, by responding with patience and forgiveness, we can break the cycle of disrespect and create a more positive interaction. The Buddha taught, "Hatred does not cease by hatred, but only by love. This is the eternal rule." Respectful speech involves self-reflection. We should regularly examine our own speech and its impact on others. Are our words promoting understanding and harmony, or are they causing confusion and discord? By reflecting on our speech, we can continually refine it and align it more closely with the principles of right speech. Being respectful in our words is a powerful tool for dealing with difficult people. By speaking truthfully, kindly, and mindfully, listening actively, being patient and forgiving, and reflecting on our own speech, we can transform our interactions with difficult people into opportunities for growth and understanding. Lesson 4. Try to be calm and understanding. Loving kindness is the wish for all beings to be happy and free from suffering. When dealing with difficult people, it's essential to remember that everyone wants to be happy, just like you. By cultivating loving kindness, we can begin to see difficult people in a new light, recognizing that their actions often stem from their own confusion and dissatisfaction. Compassion is the wish to alleviate the suffering of others. When we encounter difficult people, it's helpful to remember that they, too, are struggling with their own challenges and insecurities. By cultivating compassion, we can respond to their actions with understanding and kindness, rather than anger or frustration. Empathetic joy is the ability to rejoice in the happiness and success of others. When dealing with difficult people, it's easy to fall into the trap of envy or resentment. However, by cultivating empathetic joy, we can learn to appreciate the positive qualities in others and celebrate their accomplishments, even if we find their behavior challenging. Equanimity is the ability to maintain a balanced mind, free from attachment and aversion. When faced with difficult people, it's essential to cultivate equanimity to avoid being swayed by our emotions. By maintaining a balanced perspective, we can respond to challenging situations with wisdom and clarity. To cultivate calm and understanding, practice mindfulness meditation. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present and aware of our thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations without judgment. By cultivating mindfulness, we can develop a greater understanding of our own reactions to difficult people, as well as gain insight into their motivations and behaviors. By practicing mindfulness meditation regularly, you can cultivate a greater sense of calm and understanding, enabling you to respond more skillfully to difficult people. The goal of being calm and understanding is not to condone or excuse harmful behavior, but rather to approach difficult people with a sense of empathy and compassion. By doing so, we can transform challenging encounters into opportunities for growth and learning, both for ourselves and for those around us. Speak or act with a pure mind, and happiness will follow you, like a shadow that never leaves. As we strive to be calm and understanding in our interactions with difficult people, we not only contribute to our own well-being, but also help create a more harmonious and compassionate world. Lesson 5. Be careful not to say hurtful things. If you offend someone who is practicing the Dharma, it is like burning yourself. But if you honor someone who is practicing the Dharma, it is like warming yourself. This quote underscores the importance of respectful and considerate speech. When we speak hurtfully, we not only harm the other person, but we also harm ourselves by fostering negative emotions within our minds. Even when someone is being difficult, strive to respond with kindness. Kind words can often disarm a tense situation and pave the way for more constructive communication. Honesty is a crucial aspect of right speech. However, being honest does not mean being brutal. Always strive to speak the truth in a way that is considerate and respectful. Before speaking, ask yourself, will my words benefit this person or this situation? If the answer is no, it might be best to remain silent. Timing is crucial in communication. Sometimes, even well-intentioned words can cause harm if they are spoken at the wrong time. When we're angry or upset, we're more likely to say things we later regret. Before engaging in a difficult conversation, take the time to calm your mind and gather your thoughts. Being careful not to say hurtful things is a vital aspect of dealing with difficult people from a Buddhist perspective. It's about recognizing the power of our words and using them to create positive, rather than negative outcomes. By practicing right speech, we can transform our interactions with difficult people into opportunities for growth, understanding, and compassion. Lesson 6. If someone bothers you, try to ignore them. You will not be punished for your anger. You will be punished by your anger. This statement underscores the importance of managing our responses to provocation. When we allow ourselves to be bothered by someone's words or actions, we are giving them power over our emotional state. By choosing to ignore them, we are taking back that power and maintaining our inner peace. Ignoring someone who bothers us is not a sign of weakness, but a demonstration of strength and wisdom. It shows that we are in control of our emotions and reactions, and that we refuse to be drawn into negativity. This is not to say that we should tolerate harmful behavior or allow others to treat us poorly. Rather, it's about choosing our battles wisely and preserving our energy for the things that truly matter. The practice of ignoring also ties into the Buddhist concept of equanimity, which is about maintaining a balanced mind in the face of all experiences, whether pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. When someone bothers us, we can cultivate equanimity by recognizing that their actions are a reflection of their own suffering and confusion, not a personal attack on us. This understanding can help us respond with compassion rather than anger or annoyance. Mindfulness helps us stay present and aware of our thoughts and emotions. When someone bothers us, we can use mindfulness to observe our reactions without judgment, giving us the space to choose how we want to respond. Remember that difficult people are often acting out of their own pain and confusion. By cultivating compassion, we can see them in a more understanding light, making it easier to ignore their provocations. Instead of dwelling on the negative behavior of others, focus on the positive aspects of your life. This can help shift your mindset and make it easier to ignore those who bother you. Holding on to grudges only causes us more suffering. By practicing forgiveness, we can let go of our anger and resentment, making it easier to ignore those who bother us. Ignoring someone who bothers us is not about avoiding conflict or denying our feelings. It's about choosing peace over conflict, understanding over judgment, and compassion over anger. By applying the teachings of Buddhism, we can cultivate the skills needed to ignore those who bother us, transforming our interactions with difficult people into opportunities for growth and enlightenment. Dealing with difficult people is not about changing them, but about changing our response to them. By applying the teachings of Buddhism, we can cultivate patience, understanding, and compassion, transforming our interactions with difficult people into opportunities for growth and enlightenment.